Quincy Williams and his friends walked into a fashion boutique in Demopolis, Alabama. They wandered to the back section, saw mannequins on display. One mannequin stopped Quincy cold. The face, the features, the crooked nose from a childhood accident. It looked exactly like his best friend Jaden, who'd been missing for 6 months. He touched the mannequin's face. The texture was wrong, not plastic, something else underneath. When they called police, nobody believed them. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you what really happened. March 2018, Demopolis, Alabama. Jaden Pierce stood in front of the mirror in his small bedroom, 24 years old, adjusting his tie. Best outfit he owned, black suit from the thrift store, white shirt pressed perfectly. His mother had ironed it that morning. Tonight was important. The biggest night of his life, maybe. Dominic Rossi's spring fashion showcase at the Demopolis Convention Center. Every aspiring model in the region would be there. Industry people, photographers, agents, real opportunities. Jaden's phone buzzed. Text from his best friend Quincy Williams. "Good luck tonight, bro. You got this." Jaden smiled. Texted back, "This could be my break. Rossi's connected. Could get me real agency work. Proud of you, man. Call me after." Jaden pocketed his phone, grabbed his portfolio. Modeling photos he'd paid a local photographer $200 to take. Money he'd saved from his job at the auto parts store. His mother, Monique, appeared in the doorway. 52 years old, still in her nurse's scrubs from the hospital. "You look so handsome, baby." Her voice was thick with emotion. "Thanks, Mama." Jaden hugged her. "I'll call you when it's over. Probably won't be home till late. Be careful driving." "And Jaden?" She held his face in her hands. "I'm so proud of you. You're going to do amazing things. Love you, Mama. Love you more." That was the last time Monique Pierce saw her son alive. Jaden drove to the convention center. Arrived at 7 in the evening. The showcase started at 8. He checked in at the registration table, got a name tag, walked into the main hall. It was beautiful. Runway in the center. Lights, music, people everywhere. Models, photographers, fashion industry professionals. Dominic Rossi himself standing near the runway. 54 years old, Italian, impeccably dressed in a designer suit, talking to someone important looking. Jaden's heart pounded. This was it, his chance. The showcase began. Models walked the runway. Jaden watched, studied, tried to network, talked to other aspiring models, exchanged numbers, took business cards. Around 10 o'clock, someone tapped his shoulder. "Jaden Pierce?" Jaden turned. It was Dominic Rossi, in person, standing right there. "Yes, sir. That's me." Dominic smiled warmly, extended his hand. "I've been watching you tonight. You have the look I'm searching for. Excellent bone structure, perfect proportions. Have you done professional work? Just local shoots? I'm trying to break into the industry. I'd like to discuss an opportunity with you. Private consultation. I'm launching a new men's line. Looking for the right face, the right energy. You might be perfect." Dominic pulled out a business card, expensive cardstock, gold lettering. "Can you come by my studio tomorrow? Say 7 in the evening? It's the workshop behind my boutique, Rossi Couture, on Main Street." Jaden's hands shook as he took the card. "Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Rossi. Call me Dominic. See you tomorrow, Jaden. This could be very good for your career." Dominic walked away. Jaden stared at the card, could barely breathe. This was happening, really happening. The showcase ended around 11. Jaden drove home, called his mother. "Mama, Dominic Rossi wants to meet with me. Private consultation tomorrow." Monique screamed with joy. "Oh, baby, I knew it. I knew this would happen for you." Jaden called Quincy. "Man, Rossi noticed me. Wants me for a new line. I'm going to his studio tomorrow." Quincy laughed. "See? I told you. You're about to blow up, bro." They talked for an hour, making plans, dreaming about the future. Jaden's modeling career taking off, finally getting out of Demopolis, making his mother proud, proving everyone wrong who said he'd never make it. The next evening, March 17th, Jaden drove to Rossi Couture, arrived at 7 exactly, parked behind the building like Dominic had instructed, found the workshop entrance. Dominic greeted him warmly. "Jaden, come in, come in." The workshop was impressive. Professional lighting, backdrops, equipment. Dominic poured 2 glasses of champagne. "To your future." Dominic raised his glass. Jaden hesitated. "I don't really drink, just 1 glass." "To celebrate. This is vintage, very expensive. You should experience it." Jaden took the glass, sipped. It tasted good, expensive, like success. They talked about the industry, about Dominic's vision, about the men's line, about Jaden's potential. Jaden felt sleepy suddenly. The room tilted. "I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired." "It's all right." Dominic's voice seemed to come from far away. Just rest. Jaden's eyes closed. He didn't feel himself fall. Didn't feel anything at all. 3 days later, police found Jaden's car in the convention center parking lot. Keys in the ignition. Phone dead. No signs of struggle. Just empty. Monique filed a missing person report. Told police about the meeting with Dominic Rossi. Police checked. Dominic said yes, Jaden had come by. They'd talked about modeling. Jaden had left around 8:30, seemed fine, excited about opportunities. Police found no evidence of foul play, no witnesses, no leads. Checked Jaden's phone records, bank accounts, nothing suspicious. After 3 weeks, they closed the case. Concluded Jaden had left voluntarily. Probably went to Atlanta or New York for modeling opportunities. Young people did that. Chased dreams. Started over. Monique refused to believe it. Jaden called her every day. Every single day for 24 years. He wouldn't just leave without telling her, but she had no power, no money, no connections, just a mother's certainty that something was wrong. She searched anyway, for 6 months, filed new reports, called police weekly, hired a private investigator with money she didn't have. Investigation stalled when funds ran out. No one listened. No one helped. No one cared enough about another missing black man from Alabama. Jaden Pierce disappeared into statistics. Another cold case. Another unsolved disappearance. Another family left without answers. Until September 2018. 6 months after Jaden disappeared. Quincy Williams lived 50 miles outside Demopolis in the countryside. Small house, small town. Everyone knew everyone. He worked as a mechanic at the local garage, 26 years old. Simple life. But good life. Except for the hole Jaden's disappearance left. Quincy and Jaden had been best friends since age 7. Grew up together, shared everything. Dreams, hopes, fears. Jaden was more than a friend. He was family. The brother Quincy never had. When Jaden disappeared, part of Quincy died too. He'd called police dozens of times, demanded they investigate Dominic Rossi more thoroughly. They told him the same thing they told Monique. No evidence of foul play. Jaden left voluntarily. Adults have the right to disappear. Quincy lived with 2 friends, Braxton Hayes and Devontae Campbell, both 20-something, both working-class guys. They made the 50-mile drive to Demopolis once a month. Supplies, shopping, errands, always the same routine. This particular Saturday in September, they decided to check out Rossi Couture. Braxton had heard Dominic recently expanded, moved to a bigger location. Not that they could afford anything there. But they were curious. Wanted to see where Jaden's last event had been connected to. The boutique was impressive. Large storefront on Main Street, gold lettering on the windows. Rossi Couture. Elegant, expensive, intimidating. Man, we don't belong here. Devontae looked uncomfortable. Just looking. Quincy pushed open the door. Inside was like another world. High ceilings, polished floors, soft lighting, classical music playing. The front section had female mannequins. Elegant displays showing designer dresses. Price tags that made Quincy's eyes water. $3,000 for a dress, $5,000 for a coat. A store employee approached. Young black woman, professional. Name tag said Shanice. Good afternoon. Can I help you gentlemen find something? Just browsing, Quincy said. Thanks. Shanice nodded politely. Returned to her post near the register. The three friends wandered deeper into the store. Past the women's section. Toward the back. Found an area with male mannequins. Sign overhead read men's collection, clearance. It was dimmer back here. Less trafficked. Corner section that felt almost forgotten. 5 mannequins displayed wearing designer suits. Standing in various poses. Professional. Expensive looking. Quincy stopped walking. Stopped breathing. One mannequin in the far corner. Male. Black. Wearing a charcoal gray suit. The face. Quincy's vision tunneled. Heart pounding so hard he could hear it. That face. He knew that face. Oh my God, he whispered. Braxton looked over. What's wrong? Quincy couldn't speak. Could barely move. Walked toward the mannequin like he was in a trance. Got closer. Closer. Studied the face. Cheekbones. Jawline. The nose. The crooked nose. That's Jaden. Quincy's voice cracked. What? Braxton and Devontae moved closer. Man, come on. That's a mannequin. Look at the nose. Quincy grabbed Braxton's arm, shaking. It broke when we were 12. He fell off his bike. See the angle? It healed crooked. And the scar above his eyebrow. Right there. Chicken pox when we were kids. That's Jaden. That's my best friend. Braxton and Devontae exchanged glances. Looked at the mannequin more carefully. Quincy pulled out his phone. Hands trembling so badly he could barely work it. Found Jaden's Instagram. Pulled up a photo from February. Week before he disappeared. Jaden smiling at the camera. Face clearly visible. He held his phone next to the mannequin's face. Identical. Every feature matched perfectly. The crooked nose. The scar placement. The ear shape. The facial structure. Even the small mole on the left cheek. Too specific. Too exact. Too perfect. Holy shit, Braxton breathed. That does look like him. Devontae reached out slowly. Touched the mannequin's face. Jerked his hand back immediately. That don't feel like plastic. Feels wrong. Like coated. Like there's something underneath. He touched it again, more carefully. And it's warm, not room temperature. Plastic mannequins feel cool. This feels alive almost. Quincy's whole body started shaking. He touched the mannequin's cheek. Devontae was right. The texture was wrong. Not smooth plastic, coated something. And warm, slightly warm, like body temperature trying to escape through layers. We need to call police. Quincy's voice was hollow. Right now. That's Jaden. They did something to him. They did something to my best friend. Outside the store. Sidewalk. Saturday afternoon, sun beating down. Quincy's hands shook as he dialed 911. The operator answered. 911. What's your emergency? I need police at Rossi Couture on Main Street in Demopolis. I found my missing friend. He's been turned into a mannequin. Silence on the line. Then, sir, can you repeat that? Quincy took a breath, tried to stay calm. My best friend Jaden Pierce disappeared in March. 6 months ago. I just found him in this store. As a mannequin. His face. It's him. I know it's him. Someone needs to investigate. Sir, are you saying a mannequin looks like your friend? No, it is him. His face. Exact features. The crooked nose from an accident. The scar. Everything. Please, send someone. This is urgent. The operator's tone became more skeptical. Officers will respond when available. Can you stay at the location? Yes. We'll be here. Please hurry. Quincy hung up. Looked at Braxton and Devontae. They're sending someone. 2 hours passed. Quincy called again. Different operator. Explained everything again. Got more frustrated. This is urgent. My friend is dead. Someone killed him. He's in that store. The operator's voice was patient but dismissive. Your complaint has been logged. Officers are handling higher priority calls. Mannequin complaints aren't emergency level. It's not a complaint, it's a murder. Sir, someone will come when available. 3 more hours. The store would close soon. Finally, a police car pulled up. 1 officer. Patrol car. The officer got out. White. Young. Maybe mid-20s. Name tag said Chen. He approached them with obvious annoyance. You guys called about a mannequin? Yes. Quincy stood. My friend Jaden Pierce. Missing since March. That mannequin in there is him, Officer Chen sighed. Show me. They entered the store. Shanice Morrison, the store manager, appeared immediately. Professional. Concerned. Officers? Is there a problem? These young men say one of your mannequins is actually their missing friend. Chen's tone made it clear what he thought of this claim. Shanice looked confused, glanced at Quincy and his friends. That's not possible. All our mannequins are from professional suppliers. High-end custom pieces from Italy. Which one? Chen asked. They led him to the back section, pointed at the mannequin in the gray suit. This one, Quincy said. That's Jaden Pierce. Look at the face. Compared to this photo, he showed his phone. Jaden's Instagram photo, clear shot of his face. Chen glanced briefly at the mannequin, then at the photo. Shrugged. Walked over and knocked on the mannequin's chest once. Hard. Made a hollow sound. It's fiberglass. Or resin. Standard mannequin construction. Just looks realistic. But the face. Quincy's voice rose. Every detail matches. The nose, the scar, the mole. Look closer. High-end mannequins are designed to look lifelike. Chen was already walking away. Sometimes they resemble real people. It's coincidence. I understand you miss your friend, but this is just a mannequin. Quincy grabbed his arm. Desperate. Please, just test it. DNA test. Something. Prove me wrong. Chen pulled away. His expression hardened. We can't damage private property based on resemblance. I understand you're grieving, but making false reports is a crime. Don't waste our time again. He walked out of the store, left them standing there, devastated. Quincy tried to explain to Shanice. Showed her the photo again. Please, just look at the face. Really look. Shanice examined the photo, looked at the mannequin. Her expression softened slightly. I can see there's a resemblance. I understand why you're upset. But mannequins are designed to look attractive. Sometimes they happen to resemble real people. It's happened before with other customers. They think they see someone they know. It's not resemblance. Quincy was getting louder. Emotional. It's him. Every feature. The nose broke in a specific way. The scar is exactly where his scar was. The mole is in the exact spot. Other customers were staring now. Whispers. Uncomfortable glances. The security guard, Carlton Edwards, intervened. Large black man, 50s. Calm but firm. Sir, you need to calm down. I am calm. I just want someone to listen. Carlton's hand moved to his belt. Sir, what's happening here? A new voice. Authoritative, confident. Everyone turned. Dominic Rossi stood at the entrance to the back section. 54 years old. Italian. Silver hair perfectly styled. Designer suit that probably cost more than Quincy's truck. Presence that commanded immediate attention and respect. Shanice quickly explained the situation. The young men's claim. The mannequin. The resemblance. Dominic walked over to the mannequin. Studied it. Looked at the photo Quincy showed him. His expression was sympathetic. Understanding. Kind. I understand you're grieving, he said gently. Losing a friend is incredibly painful. The mind sometimes sees patterns, searches for connections, wants to believe. He gestured at the mannequin. But this is a custom piece, imported directly from a manufacturer in Milan. Cost $18,000. One of a kind, part of my premium collection. Then test it. Quincy's voice broke. Prove me wrong. If it's just a mannequin, prove it. Dominic's expression changed. The kindness disappeared. His voice became cold, hard. This is my business, my property. You're disrupting my customers, causing a scene. I'm asking you politely to leave. Now. Carlton moved closer, hand still near his belt. We just want the truth. Quincy's hands were fists, shaking. The truth, Dominic said slowly, is that you're harassing my business over a mannequin. You're banned from this store, all three of you, permanently. If you return, I will file trespassing charges. I will have you arrested. Do you understand? He nodded to Carlton. Security, please escort these gentlemen out. Carlton physically guided them toward the door. Not rough, but firm. No room for argument. Outside on the sidewalk, the three friends stood in stunned silence. Quincy tried calling police again. Got a different officer, explained everything. The officer's response was immediate and harsh. Sir, Officer Chen already investigated your complaint. He determined it's just a mannequin. If you continue calling about this, you'll be charged with filing false reports. This is your final warning. Do not call again. The line went dead. Quincy stared at his phone, then looked at Braxton and Devonte. His eyes were wet. Nobody believes us. We're just three black guys from the country. No education, no money, no power. And Rossi? He's rich, white, respected, connected. The system protects him. Not us. Never us. They drove home in silence, back to the countryside, back to their lives. But nothing would ever be the same, because Quincy knew, deep in his bones, deep in his soul, that mannequin was Jaden, his best friend, his brother, and nobody would help him prove it. 2 weeks passed. The worst 2 weeks of Quincy's life. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, kept seeing Jaden's face. That mannequin standing in the corner of Rossi Couture, displayed like decoration, like an object, like nothing. His mind replayed it constantly. The features, the crooked nose, the scar, the mole. Too perfect, too exact, too specific to be coincidence. But what could he do? Police wouldn't listen. The store had banned him. He had no power, no resources. No way to prove what he knew was true. Finally, he made a decision. He had to tell Monique. Jaden's mother deserved to know, even if nobody believed them, even if they could do nothing. She deserved to know her son might be there. Sunday afternoon, Quincy drove to Monique's house. Small home in the countryside. Modest, neat, well-maintained despite being over 50 years old. He knocked on the door. Monique answered. Her face lit up briefly when she saw him. Quincy, come in, baby. Then she saw his expression, saw the weight he was carrying. Her smile faded. What's wrong? Inside, photos of Jaden covered every surface. Baby pictures, school photos, graduation, modeling headshots, a shrine to a missing son. 6 months of searching reflected in every carefully placed frame. They sat at the small kitchen table. Same table where Quincy and Jaden had done homework as kids, where they'd eaten countless dinners, where Monique had made them tea and talked about their futures. She made tea now. Habit, ritual, always made tea for serious conversations. Quincy wrapped his hands around the warm cup, stared into it, didn't know how to start. Just tell me, Monique said quietly. Her hands trembled around her own cup. So Quincy told her. Everything. The monthly shopping trip to Demopolis, deciding to check out Rossi Couture, wandering to the back section, seeing the mannequin, recognizing Jaden's face. Every feature. The crooked nose from the bike accident she'd driven him to the emergency room for. The scar above his eyebrow from chickenpox when he was 5. The mole on his left cheek he'd had since birth. Calling police 4 times. Officer Chen barely looking. Being dismissed, being banned, being threatened with arrest. Monique listened without interrupting. Tears ran down her face, hands shaking so badly tea spilled on the table. When Quincy finished, she was silent for a long time. You really believe it's him? Her voice was barely audible. Quincy looked her in the eyes. Miss Monique, I know it's him. I grew up with Jaden. I know his face better than I know my own. That mannequin is Jaden. I don't understand how. I don't know what they did. But it's him. Monique stood, walked to a cabinet, pulled out a thick folder, set it on the table. Inside was everything. Missing person reports, private investigator notes, receipts for searches, police call logs, newspaper clippings, 6 months of desperate searching documented in painful detail. Police told me he left, she said, voice thick with emotion. Went to bigger city for modeling, said I needed to accept it, move on. But Jaden called me every single day. Every day for 24 years. He wouldn't just leave. I knew it. I felt it. She sat back down. But nobody would listen. I called them every week, filed new reports every month, hired an investigator with money I didn't have. He searched for 2 months until I ran out of money. Found nothing. Police said I was wasting resources, that I needed to let my adult son make his own choices. Monique looked at Quincy. But mothers know. We know our children. I knew something happened to my baby. Knew it in my bones. And now you're telling me. She couldn't finish. Broke down completely, sobbing, body shaking. Quincy moved around the table, held her, both of them crying. When she could speak again, Monique wiped her eyes. Straightened. That determination Quincy recognized from when she'd raised Jaden alone. When she'd worked 2 jobs to give him opportunities. When she'd fought for everything her son needed. What if I went to the store? She asked. As a customer. Just shopping. They don't know me. I could look at the mannequin myself. Confirm what you saw. Quincy nodded slowly. When? Tomorrow. I'll take a personal day from the hospital. Can you drive me? Of course. But Miss Monique, I can't go inside. I'm banned. You'll be alone. I can do it. Her voice was steady now, strong. For Jaden. I can do anything for my son. Monday morning, Quincy drove Monique to Demopolis. Parked 2 blocks from Rossi Couture. Couldn't risk being seen near the store. Banned. Threatened with arrest. Monique sat in the passenger seat, dressed in her church clothes, navy blue dress, pearl necklace, looking respectable, legitimate. Like a customer who belonged in an upscale boutique. She took a deep breath. Pray for me. You got this, Miss Monique. She got out of the truck, walked toward Main Street. Quincy watched until she disappeared around the corner. Then waited, heart pounding, praying she'd be safe, praying he was wrong, praying he was right, not sure which would be worse. Monique walked into Rossi Couture. Bells chimed above the door. Gentle, welcoming. Shanice Morrison greeted her warmly from behind the counter. Good morning. Welcome to Rossi Couture. Can I help you find something? Monique smiled. Calm. Just browsing. Thank you. Take your time. Let me know if you need anything. Monique walked slowly through the store, forced herself not to rush, to act natural. Interested customer. Nothing more. The front section. Women's clothing. She touched fabrics, examined price tags, made interested noises, moved methodically, patiently, even though her heart was pounding, even though every instinct screamed to run to the back section immediately. After 15 minutes of browsing, she moved toward the back, naturally, casually, just exploring the store. Men's collection. The sign overhead. Clearance section. Dim lighting. 5 mannequins displayed in the corner area. Her eyes found him immediately. Far corner. Male mannequin. Black. Wearing a charcoal gray designer suit. Monique's world stopped spinning. That was Jaden, her baby, her son, her everything. The face she'd held as a newborn, red and screaming and perfect. The face she'd kissed goodnight for 18 years. The face she'd watched grow from baby to boy to man. The face she'd stared at in photos for 6 months, memorizing every detail in case he came home. The crooked nose. She was there when it broke. Age 12. Bike accident in front of the house. She'd heard the crash. Run outside. Found him crying on the pavement. Drove him to the emergency room. Held his hand while they set it. It healed crooked, gave his face character, made him unique. the scar above his left eyebrow. Age 5, chicken pox. She'd told him not to scratch, put medicine on the spots, but he'd scratched anyway when she wasn't looking. Left a small scar, permanent reminder of a childhood illness. The mole on his left cheek. Birthmark. He'd had it since birth. She remembered the nurse pointing it out. He's got a little beauty mark. Monique had kissed it every day when he was a baby. This was Jaden. This was her son. Monique's legs gave out. She grabbed a nearby clothing rack, held on, forced herself to breathe, to not scream, to not collapse, to not alert everyone that something was wrong. She had to be smart, had to be careful, had to confirm before they kicked her out too. Monique forced herself to move closer, pretended to examine the suit the mannequin was wearing, getting within 2 feet, close enough to study the face properly. The surface looked coated, not the smooth plastic shine of regular mannequins, something underneath, a texture that was wrong, off, unnatural. She reached out carefully, adjusted the mannequin's collar. Legitimate reason to touch, customer examining the product. Her fingers brushed the neck, just for a second, just enough. The temperature was wrong, slightly warm, not room temperature. Mannequins should be cool, should match the air around them. And the texture underneath the coating, not hard plastic, something else, something that felt like skin, preserved skin, treated skin, but skin. Monique pulled her hand back, took out her phone, pretended to be texting while actually taking photos. Multiple angles, the face, profile, the nose, the scar, the mole, everything. Evidence, proof, something to show police. She stepped back, looked at the other mannequins briefly, forced herself to. Had to act normal, just a customer browsing. Then she moved to a different section, women's clothing, browsed for another 10 minutes, selected a small item, a scarf, $20. Established herself as a legitimate customer, not just someone lurking. At the register, Shanice rang up the purchase. "Did you find everything okay?" "Yes, thank you." Monique's voice was steady. Amazing what terror and determination could do. "Beautiful store. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day." Monique walked out, calm, controlled, made it around the corner, 2 blocks to Quincy's truck, climbed in, closed the door, collapsed, sobbing, body shaking, making sounds she didn't know a human could make, sounds of a mother's heart breaking, of 6 months of hope dying, of knowing the worst truth imaginable. Quincy held her, let her cry, didn't ask questions, already knew the answer from her reaction. When she could speak, when the sobs subsided enough for words, Monique looked at him with eyes that had died. "That's my son. That's Jaden. Oh God, Quincy. What did they do to my baby? What did they do?" Tuesday afternoon, Monique's house. Kitchen table covered in photos, laptop open, research materials spread everywhere. "That's definitely Jaden." Monique stared at the photos she'd taken. "But how do we make them listen? Police won't investigate. Store banned you. We have no power, no money, no connections." Quincy thought, what if it's not just Jaden? Dominic's been hosting fashion events for years, big shows, charity galas. What if there are other missing models? Other families? Monique looked up. Other families? If we're not alone, if there's a pattern, maybe they'll have to listen. Monique opened her laptop, started searching. Facebook groups for missing persons, local news archives, missing person databases, Alabama Bureau of Investigation reports. She searched for hours. Quincy stayed, helped, both of them digging through reports, looking for patterns, and they found them. 8 other young black men, ages 22 to 29, all aspiring models, all from Alabama and surrounding states. All attended fashion events in Demopolis between 2014 and 2018. All disappeared. All cases went cold. Trey Morrison, 25, disappeared June 2016 after Rossi's summer showcase. Khalil Jefferson, 27, disappeared November 2016 after Rossi's fall collection event. Brandon Lawson, 23. Disappeared April 2017 after a charity gala. Preston Hughes, 26. Disappeared August 2017 after another showcase. Tyrese Caldwell, 22. Disappeared December 2017 after a holiday event. Javon Richards, 28. Disappeared January 2018 after a New Year's gala. Devin Montgomery, 29. Disappeared February 2018 after a networking event. Malik Spencer, 24. Disappeared March 2018, same month as Jaden. 9 young men, 9 missing persons cases, 9 families searching desperately, 9 cases closed by police with the same conclusion. Subject likely relocated voluntarily. Monique started making calls, cold calling families, sending Facebook messages to mothers, sisters, brothers, anyone connected to the missing men. My name is Monique Pierce. My son Jaden disappeared after attending a fashion event hosted by Dominic Rossi in March 2018. I found him turned into a mannequin in Rossi Couture. Did your son also attend Dominic Rossi's events? The first call was to Gloria Morrison, Trey's mother. Gloria listened to Monique's story, then started crying. Yes, Trey went to Rossi's summer showcase in June 2016. He was so excited. It was supposed to be his big break. He never came home. Police said he went to Atlanta to pursue modeling. But Trey wouldn't do that. He called me every day. He wouldn't just leave. One by one, Monique contacted families. 8 mothers, 8 stories nearly identical to her own. Sons who disappeared after Rossi's events. Police who closed cases quickly. Families who never stopped searching, never stopped believing, never stopped knowing something was wrong. Monique brought them together, organized a meeting at her church. Large meeting room, folding chairs arranged in a circle, coffee and tissues provided, space for grief. 9 mothers came, ranging in age from 40 to 65. Different backgrounds, different parts of Alabama. United by one terrible thing: missing sons. Missing black sons. Sons the system had failed. Monique stood in the center, showed them the photos she'd taken of the mannequin. This is my son Jaden. He's in Rossi Couture, turned into a mannequin. I think your sons might be there too. There are other mannequins in that back section. 5 total. I think they're all our sons. The mothers examined the photos. Several gasped, hands over mouths, eyes wide with horror and recognition. That looks like Trey's build, Gloria whispered. Same height as Khalil, Keisha Jefferson said. Same body type. They shared their stories, one by one. Around the circle, each mother speaking, each story heartbreakingly similar. Sons who attended Rossi's events, who disappeared afterward, who never contacted family again. Police who investigated minimally, who closed cases within 3 weeks, who said the same things. Adults have the right to leave, likely relocated for opportunities. No evidence of foul play. Families who filed reports every month, who called police every week, who were dismissed, ignored, told to move on, to accept, to let go. But they never did, never could. Because mothers know, sisters know, brothers know, family knows when something is wrong. The system failed our sons. Monique said. Police didn't investigate properly, didn't value black lives enough to push harder, closed cases to save resources, assumed our sons didn't matter. But alone, they ignore us. She looked at each mother. Together, we can force investigation, demand DNA testing, make noise they cannot ignore. Gloria Morrison stood. How? We organize, document every failure, every assumption, every closed case, create a petition, go to media, pressure police, demand accountability, make our sons visible, make them matter. The mothers agreed, united now, bonded by tragedy, by system failure, by determination to find their sons, to get justice, to make sure this never happened again. They created a petition, Justice for Our Sons, Investigate Rossi Couture. listed 9 names, 9 faces, 9 stories, 9 families demanding answers, posted it online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, local community pages, church networks, activist groups. They asked one question: why were 9 young black men allowed to disappear without thorough investigation? The petition went viral within days. Hundreds of signatures became thousands. Community members shared it, churches posted it, local activists championed it. People were outraged, angry, demanding action. Monique's pastor mentioned it during Sunday service. The congregation mobilized, volunteered, organized, supported the families in practical ways. A local news station called Monique wanted to do a story. The movement was building. The momentum was growing. The families were making noise, making their sons visible, making them matter, and the police department could no longer ignore them. Channel 5 News, Wednesday evening broadcast. Monique Pierce sitting in their studio, composed, dignified. Jaden's photo displayed on the screen behind her. Reporter Sarah Williams leaned forward, sympathetic but professional. Miss Pierce, thank you for speaking with us. Your son Jaden disappeared in March of this year. Can you tell us what happened? Monique's voice was steady, strong. She'd practiced this, knew how important it was to sound credible, reasonable, sane. My son Jaden attended a fashion showcase at the Demopolis Convention Center, hosted by designer Dominic Rossi. Jaden was an aspiring model. This was a networking opportunity. Mr. Rossi invited him for a private consultation the next evening. Jaden went to Rossi's workshop behind the boutique. That was March 17th. He never came home. What did police tell you? They investigated briefly, found his car at the convention center. No signs of struggle. They concluded Jaden left voluntarily, probably went to Atlanta or New York for modeling opportunities. The case was closed after 3 weeks. But you didn't believe that? No. Monique's voice broke slightly, but she continued. Jaden called me every single day. Every day for 24 years. We talked about everything. He wouldn't just leave without telling me, without saying goodbye. I knew something happened to him, but nobody would listen. And now, Monique pulled out her phone, showed the photos. 6 months later, I found him, in Rossi Couture, as a mannequin. His face is identical. Every feature matches. The crooked nose from a childhood accident, a scar above his eyebrow, a mole on his cheek. It's him. The photos appeared on screen. Side-by-side comparison. Jaden's Instagram photo next to the mannequin. The resemblance undeniable. Sarah Williams looked shocked. You believe this mannequin contains your son's remains? I don't just believe it. I know it. That's my son. What did police say when you reported this? They said it's just coincidence, that mannequins sometimes resemble real people. They won't investigate, won't test it. Told us to stop calling or we'd be charged with filing false reports. 8 other mothers appeared on camera, one by one, telling similar stories. Sons who disappeared after Rossi's events. Cases closed quickly, families dismissed. And now, possibly, their sons displayed as mannequins in Rossi Couture. Reporter Sarah Williams investigated the police files, found that all 9 cases had been closed within 3 weeks. Minimal investigation, same conclusions. Subject likely relocated voluntarily. The story aired. 6 o'clock news. Repeated at 10. Posted online. 9 missing black models possibly turned into mannequins. It went viral. State news picked it up by Thursday. National outlets noticed by Friday. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, everyone covering the story. Social media exploded. Hashtags trending. Number Justice for Jaden. Number Test the Mannequins. Number Black Lives Matter. Number Demopolis 9. Pressure mounted on Demopolis Police Department. Mayor's office flooded with calls, emails. Angry citizens demanding action, demanding investigation, demanding justice. Protesters gathered outside the police station, signs everywhere. Test the mannequins. Black Lives Matter. Find our sons. 9 men, 9 families, 0 justice. Saturday morning, Police Chief Raymond Mitchell held a press conference. 60 years old, white, career cop, looking tired, defensive. We are reopening investigations into 9 missing persons cases connected to Demopolis fashion events. We will conduct thorough examination of Rossi Couture inventory. Forensic team will test mannequins in question. We take these allegations seriously. He sent his best people, Detective Lawrence Bennett and Detective Kendra Ross. Both experienced homicide detectives. Both in their 40s. Both taking the case seriously from the start. They arrived at Rossi Couture Saturday afternoon. Full forensic team, medical examiner Dr. Marcus Sullivan, portable equipment, search warrant. Dominic Rossi was cooperative, almost amused, confident. Of course. Investigate thoroughly. You'll find these are simply high-quality mannequins. I'm a victim of vicious rumors, started by grieving families exploiting my business for attention. He led them to the back section, pointed at the 9 male mannequins. These are my men's collection. Premium custom pieces from an Italian manufacturer. Each costs $15,000 to $20,000. Imported directly from Milan. Examine them. You'll see I'm telling the truth. Dr. Marcus Sullivan set up his portable X-ray scanner, industrial grade, powerful enough to penetrate thick materials, used by forensic teams for field examination. He positioned the first mannequin, the one in the gray suit, the one Monique had identified as Jaden, turned on the scanner. The machine hummed, processed, image appeared on the laptop screen. Everyone leaned in, looked, went silent. The screen showed clear skeletal structure inside the mannequin. Human, unmistakable. Vertebrae running up the spine, ribs forming a cage, pelvis. Leg bones, arm bones, hands with finger bones, skull with jaw and teeth. Not hollow plastic, not foam core, not empty. Actual human skeleton. Complete, intact, positioned upright, coated in something, preserved. Dr. Sullivan's face drained of color. This is not a mannequin. This contains human remains. Detective Lawrence immediately moved to arrest Dominic. Dominic Rossi, you're under arrest for murder and desecration of human remains. You have the right to remain silent. Wait. Dominic's confidence cracked. This is a mistake. Those are just custom mannequins. This is absurd. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. I demand my lawyer. This is harassment. Those families are lying. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Lawrence handcuffed Dominic while Kendra called for backup. More officers, crime scene team, coroner. This was now a multiple homicide scene. Dr. Sullivan scanned the remaining 8 male mannequins, one by one, methodically, documenting everything. Every single scan showed the same thing. Human skeletal structures, all preserved, all coated, all positioned, all displayed. 9 murdered men, turned into mannequins, sold as high-end decor, displayed in a boutique on Main Street for months or years while families searched desperately. The store was evacuated. Entire back sections sealed as crime scene, yellow tape everywhere. Forensic teams began the careful extraction process. Media gathered outside, cameras everywhere, reporters shouting questions. Detective Kendra called Monique. Miss Pierce, we found them, all 9. Your son, the others. I'm so deeply sorry, but we found them. You were right. You were right about everything. Monique collapsed. Quincy was there to catch her, hold her, cry with her. They'd found Jaden. After 6 months of searching, after police dismissed them, after being threatened and banned and ignored, they'd found him. But the truth was unbearable. Jaden hadn't left, hadn't moved to Atlanta, hadn't chased his dreams. He'd been murdered, turned into decoration, displayed 3 miles from his mother's house while she searched, while she cried, while she begged police to look harder. He'd been there, the whole time, and nobody had cared enough to find him. Until now. Until the families refused to be silent. Until they organized. until they forced the system to listen, to care, to act. The other 8 families received similar calls, similar devastation, years of hoping their sons were alive somewhere, starting over, building new lives. Gone. That hope destroyed, replaced with nightmare truth. Gloria Morrison screamed when told. Collapsed. Her son Trey had been displayed for over 2 years. Over 2 years while she searched, while she filed reports every month, while police told her to give up. One by one. 9 families. 9 moments of unbearable truth. 9 lives shattered by confirmation of worst fears. But also, finally, answers. After years of not knowing. Finally, closure. Finally, justice coming. The system had failed them, but they hadn't failed their sons. They'd never stopped searching, never stopped fighting, never stopped believing. And now, finally, someone was listening. At Demopolis police station. Interrogation room. Gray walls, metal table, 2 chairs. Camera in corner recording everything. Dominic Rossi sat composed, hands folded. Lawyer beside him telling him to stay silent. But Dominic waved the lawyer off. I want to talk. People need to understand. Detective Lawrence Bennett sat across from him. 48 years old, 20 years in homicide. Seen terrible things. But this was different. Why did you kill 9 young men, Mr. Rossi? Dominic's expression was serene, almost peaceful. I didn't kill them. I transformed them, elevated them, made them eternal. Lawrence exchanged glances with Detective Kendra Ross standing by the door, both thinking the same thing. This man is insane. Transformed them how? Dominic leaned forward, eager to explain. I've studied ancient practices for 30 years. Part of an occult study group. We researched sacred rituals from cultures throughout history. Preservation of beauty, sacrifice at peak perfection. His eyes were clear, rational, completely convinced of his beliefs. Male models represent peak human form, physical perfection, beautiful, perfect. But it's temporary. Age destroys it. Beauty fades. Youth dies. What remains? Nothing. So you killed them? I preserved perfection, made it eternal. These young men were at their peak. Perfect bone structure, perfect energy, perfect beauty. I captured that moment, made it last forever. Kendra spoke from her position by the door. How did you choose them? They came to my fashion events. I host 4 shows yearly at the convention center. Charity galas, industry networking. Young models attend hoping for connections, opportunities. Dominic's voice became almost dreamy. I observed them, studied them. I could sense which ones were spiritually chosen. Perfect proportions, perfect features, perfect energy. Special, meant for transformation. What happened at your workshop? I'd invite them for private consultation, exclusive opportunity. They were excited, ambitious, came willingly. I'd offer champagne, vintage, expensive. They'd drink it, thank me. Then the medicine would take effect. They'd become sleepy. I'd help them lie down. They'd fall asleep peacefully, no pain, no suffering. Lawrence kept his voice steady. Then what? Then I performed the preservation ritual. Traditional methods. I learned during my mortician training 20 years ago. Proper technique, professional standards. Drain, preserve, position, then coating. Multiple layers. Creates a surface like fiberglass. Looks like mannequin. Feels like mannequin to casual touch. Why display them in your store? Dominic looked confused by the question. Like the answer was obvious. Public display completes the ritual. They must be seen, admired, worshipped unknowingly by observers. That transfers their perfection, elevates everyone who sees them, benefits the whole community. You told your staff never to touch them. Yes, I said. They were expensive custom pieces, $15,000 to $20,000 each. Staff respected that. I maintained them personally, cleaned them, positioned them, made sure they remained perfect. Did anyone help you? Kendra asked. No, this was my calling, My sacred work. The occult study group I mentioned disbanded years ago. Most members moved on, but I continued practicing. Alone. This was my personal ritual. My transformation. My gift to these young men. He showed no remorse, no guilt, no understanding that he'd done anything wrong. Actually believed he'd created art, given his victims eternal life, elevated them through murder and desecration. Lawrence stood. Dominic Rossi, you're being charged with 9 counts of first-degree murder, desecration of human remains, operating a criminal enterprise. You'll be held without bail pending trial. Dominic remained calm as they led him to a cell, still convinced he was right, that the world simply didn't understand his vision, his art, his sacred calling. In the observation room, Quincy and Monique had watched everything through the one-way glass, heard Dominic's explanation, his calm description of murdering their sons, his complete lack of remorse. Monique was shaking. Quincy held her, both crying, both devastated, but also relieved. Finally, someone believed them. Finally, there was evidence. Finally, justice was coming. Over the next week, Dr. Marcus Sullivan worked around the clock with his forensic team, carefully extracting DNA samples from all 9 mannequins. The process was delicate, complicated. The coating was thick, professional grade, multiple layers of preservation materials and protective coating, but they drilled tiny access points, extracted tissue samples from less coated areas, sent samples to the state crime lab. Results came back over several days, one by one, each confirmation devastating and confirming. Jaden Pierce, 24. Disappeared March 17, 2018. DNA matched Monique's sample. Confirmed. Trey Morrison, 25. Disappeared June 12, 2016. DNA matched Gloria's sample. Confirmed. Khalil Jefferson, 27. Disappeared November 8, 2016. DNA matched Keisha's sample. Confirmed. Brandon Lawson, 23. Disappeared April 19, 2017. Confirmed. Preston Hughes, 26. Disappeared August 3, 2017. Confirmed. Tyrese Caldwell, 22. Disappeared December 14, 2017. Confirmed. Javon Richards, 28. Disappeared January 21, 2018. Confirmed. Devin Montgomery, 29. Disappeared February 9, 2018. Confirmed. Malik Spencer, 24. Disappeared March 18, 2018. One day after Jaden. Confirmed. 9 identified victims, all black male models, ages 22 to 29. All attended Dominic Rossi's fashion events. All murdered, all turned into mannequins, all displayed publicly for months or years. Some for as long as 2 years. 2 years standing in that boutique, walked past by thousands, admired by customers, called beautiful, called perfect, called art. While families searched desperately, while mothers cried every night, while police dismissed their concerns, while the system failed them over and over. Detective Lawrence made the phone calls personally. 9 families, 9 conversations, 9 moments of unbearable finality. He called Monique first. Miss Pierce, DNA testing confirms the mannequin in Rossi Couture is your son Jaden. I am so deeply sorry. His remains will be released for proper burial after evidence collection completes. Monique already knew, had known since she saw that mannequin, but confirmation was different. Final. No more hope. No more maybe he's alive somewhere. No more possibility of miracle. Definitely gone. Murdered. Displayed. For 6 months, she collapsed. Quincy caught her, held her while she sobbed, while she screamed, while she made sounds no mother should ever have to make. The other families received similar calls, similar devastation. Gloria Morrison screamed when told about Trey. Couldn't breathe, couldn't process. Her son had been displayed for over 2 years. Over 2 years while she searched. filed reports, hired investigators, begged police to look. Keisha Jefferson broke down completely. Khalil had been there for almost 2 years. Almost 2 years while she called police weekly, while they dismissed her, while they told her to move on. One by one, 9 families, 9 impossible truths, 9 lives destroyed by confirmation, but also relief mixed with devastation. Finally knowing, finally having answers, after years of agonizing questions, finally able to stop wondering, to start grieving properly, to begin healing. The families gathered at Monique's church again. Support group, united by tragedy, by system failure, by determination to get justice, to make sure their sons were remembered properly. Not as mannequins, not as objects, but as people, as sons, as humans who mattered. Quincy stayed with Monique, didn't leave her side. Other friends supported their families. Community rallied. Church provided counseling, resources, space for grief. 9 families connected now, forever bonded, united by the worst thing imaginable, but finding strength in each other, finding purpose, finding hope that justice would finally be served. The trial was scheduled for December. 3 months away. 3 months to prepare, to gather evidence, to build the case, to make sure Dominic Rossi never hurt anyone again. December 2018, 3 months after the discovery. Demopolis County Courthouse. The trial of Dominic Rossi began. The courtroom was packed, every seat filled. 9 families in the front rows, holding hands, supporting each other, wearing photos of their sons on buttons, making sure everyone remembered these were people, not mannequins, not objects, people. Media everywhere, national coverage, cameras outside the courthouse, reporters describing it as one of the most disturbing cases in Alabama history. Dominic pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. His defense argued religious delusion, delusional disorder with grandiose and religious features. Genuinely believed he was performing sacred spiritual practice. Thought he was elevating victims. Didn't understand the wrongness of his actions. Lacked capacity for criminal intent. The prosecution argued the opposite. Dominic planned meticulously, targeted specific victims at his own events, lured them with professional opportunities, drugged them deliberately, used professional mortician skills to preserve them, displayed them while running his business, told staff never to touch them, banned people who got suspicious, threatened them with arrest. All of that required awareness, planning, intent, understanding that society viewed this as wrong, understanding he needed to hide his actions. That showed legal sanity. Psychiatrists testified for both sides. Defense expert Dr. Helen Morrison. Mr. Rossi suffers from delusional disorder. He genuinely believes his actions were sacred, spiritually necessary. He cannot distinguish between his belief system and reality. In his mind, he was creating art, preserving beauty, elevating chosen souls. He lacks the capacity to understand wrongdoing. Prosecution expert Dr. Robert Chen. Mental illness is present, but it doesn't meet the insanity threshold. Mr. Rossi understood his actions were illegal. He hid evidence, covered his tracks, threatened witnesses, banned people who suspected. That demonstrates clear awareness of wrongdoing. Awareness that society views murder as crime. He may have believed in his delusions, but he understood others would not. That's not insanity. That's knowing right from wrong and choosing wrong anyway. The jury heard evidence. X-ray images showing skeletons inside mannequins. DNA results confirming identities. Dominic's journals from his workshop. Detailed entries about each victim, how he chose them, how he lured them, how he preserved them. His journals were disturbing, clinical, detailed, proud, JP. Perfect facial structure, chosen energy, elevated March 17, preservation successful, display complete. T.M. Excellent bone structure. Spiritual perfection recognized. Elevated, June 12. Coding optimal. Public worship achieved. Entry after entry. 9 murders documented like artistic projects. No remorse, no guilt, only pride in his work. Then Dominic testified. His lawyer advised against it. But Dominic insisted, wanted to explain, wanted people to understand his vision. He sat calmly in the witness stand, composed, articulate, detailed. Ancient cultures understood something we've forgotten. Sacrifice at peak perfection preserves essence, prevents degradation, stops the inevitable decay of age and time. He showed photos of the mannequins displayed in his store. Look at them. Beautiful, perfect, eternal, better than aging, better than dying, better than being forgotten. I gave them immortality. I gave them purpose. I made them art. He described each victim, how he'd chosen them, what made them perfect, their bone structure, their energy, their spiritual readiness for transformation. I'd offer private consultation, exclusive opportunity. They were excited, ambitious, eager for success. They came willingly to my workshop. I'd serve champagne, expensive vintage. Drugged, yes, but they never knew, never suffered. They'd compliment the taste, then grow sleepy. They'd lie down, fall asleep peacefully. No pain, no fear. Then I'd perform the preservation ritual. The courtroom was silent, horrified, families crying, some covering their mouths, others shaking with rage. Dominic continued. Clinical, detailed, traditional mortician techniques. Drain, preserve, position carefully. Then, coating, multiple layers. Create surface that looks like fiberglass, feels like mannequin to casual touch. But inside, perfect preservation, perfect display. They must be public, must be seen. That completes the transformation. Energy transfers to observers. Everyone who sees them benefits. That's why display was essential. Why they stood in my store, so people could admire them, worship unknowingly, elevate themselves through witnessing perfection. He showed absolutely no remorse, no guilt, no awareness that he'd done anything wrong. Actually believed he'd created art, performed sacred work, given his victims a gift. The prosecutor asked about the families. Mr. Rossi, 9 families searched for their sons. 9 mothers cried every night. They begged police to look harder, filed reports, hired investigators, suffered for years not knowing. What do you say to them? Dominic looked at the families, made eye contact with Monique, with Gloria, with Keisha, with all of them. You should be grateful. Your sons are eternal now, perfect forever. I gave them immortality, my gift to them. One day you'll understand. One day you'll thank me. The families erupted, shouting, crying, screaming. One mother tried to jump the barrier. Bailiffs intervened. Judge called for order, pounded gavel, threatened to clear the courtroom. But the damage was done. Dominic's total lack of remorse, his belief that he'd done something good, his conviction that families should thank him, all of it clear to everyone, especially the jury. The prosecution rested. Defense presented their case. Character witnesses who said Dominic seemed normal, neighbors who said he was kind, church members who said he was generous. He seemed like a respected businessman, one said. Always donated to charity, hosted fundraisers, supported the community. I never would have suspected. That was the horror. Dominic Rossi had hidden in plain sight, respected, trusted, normal. While murdering young men and displaying them in his store, the jury deliberated for 4 days. The families waited at the church, supporting each other, praying, hoping, fearing. Saturday afternoon, the call came. Verdict reached. Everyone rushed to the courthouse. The jury filed in, faces serious. Judge asked for the verdict. On count 1, murder in the first degree of Jaden Pierce. How do you find the defendant? Guilty. On count 2, murder in the first degree of Trey Morrison. How do you find the defendant? Guilty. Count 3, Khalil Jefferson. Guilty. Count 4, Brandon Lawson. Guilty. Count Count 5, Preston Hughes, guilty. Count 6, Tyrese Caldwell, guilty. Count 7, Javon Richards, guilty. Count 8, Devin Montgomery, guilty. Count 9, Malik Spencer, guilty. 9 counts of first-degree murder, guilty on all. The courtroom erupted, families sobbing, holding each other, screaming with relief, with grief, with vindication. Finally, justice. Quincy hugged Monique, both crying, both shaking. Finally, someone had listened. Someone had cared. Someone had held Dominic accountable. Dominic showed no reaction. Sat calmly, face blank. Still believed he'd done nothing wrong. Still thought the jury was mistaken. Still convinced history would vindicate him. Sentencing hearing 2 weeks later. Same courtroom, same packed gallery. 9 families waiting to finally speak, to be heard, to tell Dominic what he'd taken from them. Judge allowed victim impact statements. Monique spoke first, stood at the podium, looked directly at Dominic Rossi. Her voice shook but held strong. You took my son, my only child, my Jaden. He was 24 years old, had dreams, wanted to be a model, wanted to walk runways, wanted to make me proud, show the world what a black boy from Alabama could achieve. Her voice broke. You lured him with promises, professional opportunities, exclusive consultation. He was excited, hopeful, ambitious. He trusted you, came to your workshop willingly, and you drugged him, killed him, then turned him into decoration. Tears ran down her face. You displayed him in your store for 6 months, while I searched, while I cried every night, while I begged police to look harder. My son was 3 miles from my house, and when his best friend found him, when Quincy recognized him, police dismissed him. Your store banned him because he was young, black, poor, and you were rich, white, respected. The system protected you, not my son, not us. Her hands gripped the podium. I will never hold my son again, never hear his voice, never watch him succeed, never see him get married, never meet my grandchildren. You stole all of that. Stole his future, stole my future as his mother, and you feel nothing. No remorse, no guilt. You're actually proud. You think you did something good. That's what makes you a monster. Other mothers spoke. Gloria Morrison, Keisha Jefferson, one by one, all saying similar things. You destroyed us. You stole our sons. You displayed them like decorations while we searched desperately. But you didn't destroy us completely. We survived. We fought. We got justice. The judge listened to everything, took notes, waited until all families had spoken. Then he looked at Dominic Rossi. Mr. Rossi, you committed heinous acts. You murdered 9 young men in the prime of their lives. You violated their remains. You displayed them publicly as art. You operated for 4 years without detection, all while maintaining a respected position in this community. His voice hardened. Your lack of remorse is deeply disturbing. Your beliefs do not excuse your actions. You understood right from wrong. You knew your actions were illegal. You hid evidence. You covered your tracks. You banned people who suspected. You threatened them with arrest. All of that demonstrates awareness. This court sentences you to 9 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole. You will die in prison. You will never hurt anyone again. May God have mercy on your soul. Because this court will not. Bailiffs led Dominic away. He remained calm, still convinced he was right. Looked back at the families one last time. One day you'll understand. I gave them eternity. Then he was gone, led through a side door, to prison, forever. Outside the courthouse, families held a press conference. Media everywhere, cameras, reporters, national coverage. Monique spoke. Quincy stood beside her, supporting her. All 9 families united behind them. Justice was served today. Dominic Rossi will spend the rest of his life in prison. He will never hurt anyone again. But our work isn't done. She looked at the cameras, at the reporters, at the nation watching. 9 young men died because the system failed them. Police closed their cases within 3 weeks, didn't investigate properly, made assumptions, decided black men's lives didn't matter enough to push harder, to look deeper, to care enough. That must change. We're pushing for systemic reform, better investigation protocols for missing persons, mandatory follow-ups regardless of race or socioeconomic status, every person valued, every disappearance investigated thoroughly, every family believed. That's Dominic Rossi's real legacy, not the horror he created, but the change we're building to prevent this from happening again, to make sure 9 more families never have to suffer what we suffered. The families returned to Monique's church, their safe space, their community, held each other, cried together, started the long process of healing. Justice had been served, but the pain would never fully go away. The sons would never come back. The years of searching would never be returned. But they had answers now. They had closure. They had each other. And they had purpose. To make sure their sons were remembered. To make sure the system changed. To make sure this never happened again. September 2020. 2 years after the discovery. 2 years of healing. 2 years of advocacy. 2 years of change. Demopolis had transformed. The city that had failed 9 families. The police department that had closed cases too quickly. The system that hadn't valued black lives enough. All of it different now. Better. Changed by tragedy into something more just. Where Rossi Couture had stood, there was now empty land. The building had been demolished, torn down. Nobody wanted that cursed place standing, too contaminated by evil, too haunted by what had happened there. The city purchased the land, converted it into a memorial park, the Garden of 9. 9 granite monuments arranged in a circle, each bearing a name, a photo from life, not death, not as mannequins, as people, as sons, as humans who had lived and loved and dreamed. Jaden Pierce, 1994 to 2018. Aspiring model. Beloved son, he dreamed big and loved bigger. Trey Morrison, 1991 to 2016. Aspiring model. Beloved son, he made everyone smile. Khalil Jefferson, 1989 to 2016. Aspiring model. Beloved son, he wanted to mentor youth. And 6 more monuments. 9 young men. 9 stolen futures. 9 families forever changed. Trees planted by families. Flowers in beds maintained by volunteers. Benches for quiet reflection. Walking paths winding through the space. Beautiful, peaceful, sacred. The dedication ceremony was on September 15th. 2 years exactly since Quincy had walked into that store. Since he'd seen that mannequin. Since everything changed. Hundreds of people attended. 9 families front and center. Quincy stood with Monique. Both changed by these 2 years. Older, sadder, but stronger, united. The mayor spoke about learning from failures, about doing better, about honoring these young men through action and change. The police chief spoke about reforms implemented, new protocols, mandatory follow-ups for missing persons, no more assumptions, no more closed cases without thorough investigation, better training, more resources, community oversight. Then Monique was asked to speak. She stood at the podium, looked at the gathered crowd, looked at the monuments, took a deep breath. 2 years ago, my son's best friend found him. Quincy Williams. Found. Jaden turned into a mannequin. Displayed in a store. He called police 4 times. They dismissed him. Treated him like a prank caller, like his word meant nothing. Because he's a young black man. Because his word meant nothing against a rich white store owner. Her voice strengthened. But Quincy didn't give up. He told me. Together we organized. We found 8 other families, 8 other missing sons. We created a petition. We went to media. We forced investigation. We exposed the truth. She gestured to the monuments. 9 young men were murdered, turned into objects, displayed publicly, some for over 2 years, while we searched, while we begged police to look, while the system failed us over and over. But we didn't fail them. We found them. We fought. We got justice. And now we make sure they're never forgotten. Monique looked at the crowd. These 9 men had dreams. Jaden wanted to walk fashion runways. Trey wanted to act. Khalil wanted to model and mentor youth. Each had goals, plans, futures. Dominic Rossi stole that. But he didn't steal their memory. Didn't steal our love. Didn't steal their legacy. Their legacy is this garden, this memorial, the changes we fought for. Police protocols improved. Missing persons cases investigated better. Black families believed more. Support systems created. That's what these 9 men gave us. Not through dying, but through us refusing to let them be forgotten, refusing to accept injustice, fighting until truth was exposed. Quincy stepped forward, 28 years old now, working full-time with the non-profit they'd created, Black Missing Persons Advocacy, helping families navigate investigations, keeping cases active, making sure nobody else went through what they did. I found my best friend by accident, he said. Monthly shopping trip, wandered to the back of a store, saw a mannequin that looked like Jaden, knew immediately, felt it in my soul. His voice rose with emotion, but nobody believed me. Police came once, looked for 2 minutes, said I was wasting time. Store owner banned me, threatened me with arrest if I returned. I felt powerless, helpless, because a young black man's word means nothing in this system. But I didn't stop. Told Jaden's mother. She organized the families. We fought together, made them listen, made them investigate, made them care. And we were right. Jaden was there, 8 others too, all dismissed by police, all forgotten by the system, until we refused to be silent. Quincy looked at Jaden's monument. Jaden was my brother, not blood, but we chose each other as family, grew up together, shared dreams. He wanted to succeed, make his mother proud, show our community that black boys from the countryside can achieve anything. His voice broke. He didn't get that chance, but his death created change. His memory inspires action. That's the legacy Dominic Rossi never understood, never could take away from us. The families gathered around the monuments, each family at their son's stone, placing flowers, touching granite, saying names aloud, remembering, honoring, loving. Quincy and Monique stood at Jaden's monument longest, both crying, both healing, both grateful and devastated all at once. Monique touched the warm stone. Rest easy, baby. Mama made sure you're remembered, made sure you mattered, made sure you got justice. Her voice broke. I love you forever. You're home now. You're safe. And I'll keep fighting. For you. For all 9 of you. For every missing person who needs someone to believe them. To search. To care. Quincy placed his hand next to hers. Miss you, brother. Every single day. But your death wasn't meaningless. It changed everything. Changed me. Changed this community. Changed how we value black lives. I'm helping other families now. Making sure nobody else goes through what we did. Making sure no more mothers cry for years not knowing. That's your legacy, Jaden. That's what your life means. That's how you changed the world. They stood together. Mother and best friend. United by love for Jaden. By tragedy that brought them closer. By fight for justice that gave them purpose. By refusal to give up that changed a system. The afternoon sun warmed the garden. Birds sang in newly planted trees. Flowers bloomed in beds maintained with love. Families talked quietly, supporting each other, healing together. Sacred space, where 9 young men were remembered, where 9 families found community, where justice was finally served, where love defeated evil. Dominic Rossi was in prison, would die there, name synonymous with horror, with evil, with monstrosity. But these 9 young men, their names were synonymous with love, with memory, with perseverance, with justice, with change, with hope. Jaden, Trey, Khalil, Brandon, Preston, Tyrese, Javon, Devin, Malik. 9 names, 9 lives, 9 young men who mattered then, who matter now, who will always matter. Their garden grows, their legacy lives, their memory honored, their deaths created change that saves lives, their families united, their stories told, their names never forgotten, forever.